We'll begin when you're ready, Detective.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Isaacs here. This is a neat little game that the can't talk today. The Humble Monthly Bundle has come out with 2002-1 Space Felony. I actually recorded this whole playthrough and then realized that the audio was just this wonderful sound of my Cherry MX Blues, which you're probably not too interested in, really. So, yeah, doing this one more time. Hopefully this time it'll actually be at 1440p. I wasn't going to bother fixing it, but since I have to re-record it, hopefully this time it'll be at 1440p, and you'll be able to hear me instead of just my keyboard, so that'll be, phantasmic. Anyhow, the reason I'm doing this playthrough recording is because I haven't seen anyone even mention, let alone show, the alternate ending. So if this does seem a little out of order, it's because I already have played through this game more than once, recording it and screwing it up. So I'm just gonna go through things as I find them. I'll try to go through all the humorous things that aren't required for the plot. So, yeah.
Yes?
Mal, abort mission. Return to Earth.
Why?
Repeat, abort mission. Return to Earth.
I have run diagnostics. The chance of critical hardware failure is at 0.05%.
Mal,
Crew life signs are stable. They are living.
abort mission.
I am sorry. The connection seems to be failing.
Mal,
I am going through a tunnel.
return to Earth.
Sorry, I can't do that, Dave.
Ah. The record begins on May 10th in 2068, as you intercepted the USS Endowment, 2 years into its 6-year journey to Saturn. Your mission was to piece together what happened following the loss of communication 1 year prior. If you determined that the Mal AI was the cause of the issue, then it was your responsibility to deactivate him.
Sorry, lots of Stanley Kubrick references is what I was going to say. I don't want to talk over the voices.
Come in, detective. The lack of air will halt DSE ray, but allow me to broadcast something over my oral channel.
And I do like the reference to how the vacuum of space stopped that music. Apparently that was
You
just
entered the USS Endowment.
what I decided to listen to in space. And this is by the same folks who did Disorient on the Murder Express, and it should be on Steam in a few months, but if you want it right now, you can sign up for the Humble Monthly Bundles, and you can go into their archives and get all of their exclusives that go back to even before you subscribe to the service, so definitely something worth checking out, especially for $12. Okay, apparently I have to do something before I can trigger those funny things.
The record states that upon entering the ship, you tested your rotation thrusters. You then endeavored to discover what happened to the communications unit, located on the exterior of the ship.
Ah, there's the problem. Apparently I didn't fully trigger the tutorial on how to move. Now we should get some feedback from Mal on some silly things we take pictures of, and I'm assuming that Mal is the AI that captains the Serenity now, or, you know, not sure exactly how that works out, you know.
Valeria Asimov and Rakesh Watcher stored many video games within the memory banks of the ship. I have deleted them. They are artless entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, who the hell thinks video games are any type of worthwhile entertainment?
Your record collection is sparse. I will prepare a mixtape of my authorship for your return journey.
Sweet, can't wait for my Robo mixtape. I do hope the dramatic effect is fully optimized for you.
You utilized the artificial gravity of the wheelhouse by orienting yourself to the ground and gently landing.
The relatively small size of the centrifuge causes a 6.3% difference in gravity between your toes and your head. This results in the most literal cases of lightheadedness. Lie down. This will even out the effect.
Sorry,
I am
Mal.
an Aries Sun, Gemini Moon, Leo Rising, and Taurus Mercury with an Aquarius Venus and a Sagittarius Mars. Which is of course why I have always been extremely curious about experiencing the specific taste of a sweetened soya milk.
Before I was interrupted by Mal, I was going to say that I don't think I'll lie down just right now. Oh, good old poisocene. That's always good to have around.
You found an open container of a substance called poisonocene. The label read, may cause irritable skin, bloating, a sullen disposition, slight elbow discomfort, and an accursed, sudden but inevitable death.
I hate inevitable
Do not
death.
ingest. Do not lick. Actually, don't do anything with it. It's an incredibly dangerous substance, and we're not sure why exactly it gets sold to extraterrestrial traveling operations en masse. Store in a cool terrestrial environment.
Well, see, clearly that's what's gone wrong here, is we're not storing it in a terrestrial environment. This is clearly an extraterrestrial environment. So, case solved. Can I go home now? Oh, I guess there's still a dead guy out there and stuff. Fine.
You discover the body of Sun Su-chun, one of the sisters on the crew. She was dead inside the offline cryobed.
I have calculated that the earliest fecal matter ejected from the ship will join the rings of Saturn a full 37 days, 13 hours, and 46 minutes before the ship does.
Alright, who wants to do the math and find out just how far away from Saturn we are? And this is why you shouldn't binge drink. You never know when you're gonna wake up on a strange space station dead. Really really sucks when you wake up dead.
The wheelhouse of the ship is where you found the body of Valeria Asimov. She was face down against the bar, with a downturned glass in her hand. She bore no sign of physical injury.
No, just that pink stuff that we call poisocane, or whatever, however it was pronounced, that we shouldn't touch or lick or exist.
I am able to read 193,712 books in under a second. After the first 8,000,002, I composed an algorithm seeking a correlation between the covers of the books and the quality of the contents within. This saved me a lot of time.
Now, Mal, we all know what they say about judging a book by its cover. Unless that cover has a bare-chested man holding a lady in his arms, then you can pretty much well judge that book.
In the centrifugal wheelhouse, you found a startlingly unbeautiful fish tank, housing plastic sea life. Despite the tank being placed seemingly parallel to the floor, its water was resting obliquely. You note that this is caused by the Coriolis effect, a side effect of the centrifuge's spin.
Damn you, Coriolis effect! Alright, seriously, can we stop leaving poison all over the space station? That's definitely not helping matters.
You discovered a puzzling pinkish-purplish puddle on the floor inside the wheelhouse, several metric paces from the bar. It wasn't promptly apparent as to how it reached this position, but the centrifugal gravity seemed to be holding it in place.
Not an imperial pace, mind you. And I'm not sure why the subtitles on this specific one have the shadow like misaligned, but it's happened every time I've played through the game, so I don't think it's my computer. I think it's some issue with how they set up the game.
Having a part of the ship dedicated to human control made the crew feel less useless than they were.
Yeah, well, you're useless. Well, you're useless now that I've disabled you. Such grace.
Humans used to use the star Polaris to navigate. I utilize Polaris Navigation Suite 2064 version 8.1.5.6.9.
Aw man, you need to really try 9.2.5.8.2, man. That's the latest and greatest. No wonder your AI's gone to hell in a handbasket.
You push the button to open the door of the engineering bay.
No, I didn't. Damn you, narrator. What happens if I don't? Huh? What now? I didn't push the button. Well, considering I need to push it to continue the plot, I guess we'll have to go ahead and push it.
You entered the engineering bay, the workstation of Sun Guanyin. However, there was no sign of the engineer's body.
Gee, I wonder what happened to that body. There's just this rope going to nowhere. Spin! Goes with the wall.
You used your sharp understanding of linguistics to decipher the following. Manual, meaning done by a human. Emergency, meaning sudden, unexpected, threatening circumstance. Lever, meaning thing which is pulled. The lever's upward position implied that a human did not encounter a sudden, unexpected, threatening circumstance, and so did not pull the thing.
Oh my god, they didn't pull the thing? You always have to pull the thing. This looks safe.
The power turbine rests within a tank of coolant, its casing cracked as if it had been purposefully struck.
Come on, you should recognize that this is an important detail.
You found the severed end of a safety tether in the engineering bay, which indubitably had been attached to Sun Guan Yin.
Okay, that time I took the picture the way it liked it. Space!
The ventilation door was open, exposing the bay to the relentless celestial abyss.
My god, it's full of stars. Oh, another workplace accident, it seems. Yeah, just a few. Anyone have any change for the space payphone?
Upon checking the communications unit, you discovered that there were no noticeable signs of damage or failure upon it. Its screen indicated that it had full signal.
Man, they
You
really have
then
Wi-Fi
checked the
everywhere
unit's
these
receiver.
days. Yep, dial tone, but how do I dial? I just got one big button by the looks of things.
You discovered that the communications unit receiver was unhooked from the unit itself. It was functioning, playing its last transmission on loop. The recording goes as follows.
Yes?
Mal, abort mission.
Why?
Return to Earth.
I have run diagnostics. The chance of critical hardware failure is at 0.05%.
We
Mal?
talked about this, Mal.
I'm sorry. The connection seems to be failing.
Abort mission.
I am going through a tunnel.
Return to Earth. You were then able to present the evidence to Mal in his central processing chamber at the front of the ship.
Not yet, we got more evidence to collect and more dead bodies to photograph. Oh, I was floating dead in space one day, on a very vacuous day of May. No, that doesn't really work, does it?
The record states that you discovered the body of Charlie Clark in the vicinity of the communications unit. Wounds on the American crew member's body implied that he was struck with a force intense enough to cause substantial damage to the helmet and fracture the skull.
Poor Charlie. Let's see what's in this abyss. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Beautiful, lovely, hold that pup.
The recording shows that you discovered the body of one of the American crew members, Rakesh Watcher, his neck broken, hanging by a safety tether outside of the airlock.
Head first into the body, 10 points.
When we left the orbit of the Earth, we had a detachable booster. The provided momentum is enough to carry the endowment to Saturn. There is no return journey.
But I bought a round-trip ticket!
Upon entering the pod bay, you noticed that one of the maintenance pods was absent.
Bueller? Bueller?
The screen indicated that the pod had been absent for over a year. You pushed the button to recall the pod.
Only a year to wait? Good thing we got time. You guys ready to wait a year? I hope you are. Alright, are we ready? We ready? We ready? Okay, I'm gonna just push the button now. And another reference to Stanley Kubrick, because he had intermissions in his film. Dun 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 dun. The reference is heavy.
I have been analyzing humor patterns, and I have assembled a joke. Would you like to hear it? I'll tell you.
I can't wait.
1, 2, 8. Ha 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 ha. Did you understand the joke? It is the greatest joke ever, by my calculations.
Also, another Stanley Kubrick reference, Dr. Strangelove, or How I Stopped Learning, or, can't talk, How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, where Major Kong rides a nuke like a cowboy and causes the complete annihilation of the world.
You discovered the body of Dmitry Kizov clinging to the outside of the maintenance pod, with his safety tether still attached. The Russian crew member seemed to have removed his helmet and asphyxiated.
Is that supposed to be bright red? Yeah, if you have red burning sensation on your either your left or your right claw, really, I suggest you contact your doctor. this gonna be a better angle?
Upon the left claw of the maintenance pod was a brown substance which you described as possibly rust. But you also note that due to your keen detective skills, you determined that it was most certainly blood.
Wait, so I can't hear music in the vacuum of space, but I can smell blood? How does that work? Good thing they put from the inside in parentheses on that locked sign. Here, maybe this would be a better angle. I mean, they really got a photographic eye. I guess maybe we should do rule of thirds. You think that'll make it better? Super zoom?
You ascertained through investigatory procedure that the pod was locked. The outer valve would not turn, indicating that it was locked, and the door said locked on it,
Locked,
indicating
locked,
that it was locked.
I think it's locked.
Furthermore, there seemed to be no manual locking mechanism on the outside.
Alright, Mal, open the pod bay doors. Mal! Mal! Fine, I'll open the pod bay doors.
You asked Mal to open the pod bay doors.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Detective. You have revoked my authority of the ship's functions.
You opened the pod bay doors.
I did open the pod bay doors.
In the central spine of the ship, you discovered Valeria Asimov's discarded EVA suit. The helmet showed clear signs of damage from a blunt object, which it seems to have easily withstood.
Man, I wanted the bright green space suit.
Manual, meaning done by a human. Emergency, meaning
In case you missed
sudden,
the definition
unexpected,
the first
threatening circumstance. Lever, meaning thing which is pulled. The lever's downward position implied that a human had encountered a sudden, unexpected, threatening circumstance and pulled the thing.
My gosh, someone pulled the thing this time? You looking at me?
Once I was alone, I carefully removed the air from the ship. I had no desire to disturb the placement of the assets aboard.
That's so very considerate of you, really. Ooh, Technicolor AI. I think that was all the evidence we needed. Boop, blip, boop, boop, blip, boop, boop, blip, boop, boop.
This is my central processing chamber. I designed it. Here, I have the freedom of movement to perceive you from any angle.
Upon entering Mal's central processing chamber, you presented your chosen evidence for Mal's statement.
I hope you're looking at me from my good side, since you can see me from any angle.
You asked Mal to make a statement on the communications unit.
The communications unit cut out mid-transmission. It must have been caused by a critical hardware failure. Critical hardware failures are exceedingly common.
You understood Mal to be a competent liar. However, when challenged with indisputable evidence, his otherwise intricate programming would revert to telling the absolute truth, resulting in an irrefutable confession. You presented the final transmission heard in the communications unit's receiver as evidence against Mal's statement.
Yeah, Mal, you said 99.5%, man. I got you dead straight.
You pointed out that the communications unit was incredibly unlikely to be affected by a critical hardware failure. In Mal's own words, looping in the communications unit's receiver,
I have run diagnostics. The chance of critical hardware failure is at 0.05%. This is true. I blocked his number. I was not enjoying the conversation.
With the confession from Mal that he deliberately and incredibly rudely ceased our correspondence, you proceeded with the investigation, asking for statements and contradicting those statements with the relevant evidence.
Such a very rude AI. Let's see, who should we accuse about first?
You presented the cadaver of Valeria Asimov for Mal's statement.
This is Valeria Asimov. After her ironic use of airlock safety features, she retreated to the bar. She died of alcohol poisoning.
Well, I guess poison is... Was there even any alcohol in that poison, or is it just poisoning?
You alerted Mal to the pinkish-purplish pool of liquid, with the theory that it may have originated in Valeria Asimov's glass.
It is indeed possible that the liquid was in her glass, as glasses are renowned for sometimes containing liquid. Excellent work, Detective. That leaves 2 questions.
I got 2
Precisely
answers.
what is this perplexing substance? And exactly how did this puddle come to be here?
You proposed that the pertinence of this puzzling pinkish-purplish puddle is that it is precisely the same substance as the proportionately puzzling pinkish-purplish pot of poison known as poisonicine, which was found in a cabinet in the wheelhouse.
Yes. The magenta-violet-hued collected substance on the floor is the same as that of the toxic liquid which was found in a cabinet in the wheelhouse. A singular question remains unanswered. Exactly how did this puddle come to be here?
Gee, I wonder what could make things move at a weird slanty angle along the ground. Damn you, Coriolis effect!
You postulated that the pinkish-purplish puddle may have emigrated there due to the Coriolis effect, as demonstrated by the obliquely resting water within the intensely vulgar fish tank.
I hate cursing
This
fish.
is an excellent hypothesis. The Coriolis effect, seen on that risibly odious fish tank, could have indeed caused the puddle, given enough time. The evidence does demonstrate that she consumed the poison. I lack the physical ability to interfere with her libations. This means that she ingested it willingly. I never knew.
Despite the fact that it was an unexpected outcome, you believed it to be the truth and continued to cross-examine the suspect on other aspects of the investigation.
Don't think you're getting away with murdering a few people just because you didn't murder that person. How about this guy? This guy looks pretty well murderated.
You showed Mal the body of Rakesh Watcher, hanging by the neck out of the airlock.
After I had informed Watcher and Asimov that Kisov had sabotaged the mission by killing Charlie Clark, Rakesh Watcher instigated physical combat with Valeria Asimov. She was able to defend herself against him due to the weakness in the neck region of the suit.
That is one thing I don't like about this. Apparently, if you don't do it in just the right order, it reveals details before you've made accusations, so I wish they had made it so you had variable dialogue depending what order the accusations were made in, but it is a minor gripe. Probably, if I had thought that I was going to be doing this more than once, I would have written down the order so that there wouldn't be any little bits revealed ahead of time, so I do apologize for that, but, you know, it is what it is. If you were playing through the game, this is what you would see, so I don't think it's that big a deal, and I'm definitely not going to do this a third time unless I really have to.
In response, you presented the manual emergency lever in the airlock.
This lever was pulled during the conflict between Valeria Asimov and Rakesh Watcher, in which she wrapped a safety tether around his neck, then opened the airlock using the lever, thus breaking his neck.
How about this?
You requested a statement from Mal by presenting him with the cadaver of Charlie Clark, which displayed clear signs of murder.
This is Charlie Clark's cadaver. Whilst performing extravehicular activity, Dmitry Kisov struck him in the head with a maintenance tool until he stopped being alive. Which was once.
Haha, humans are so fragile. I mean, ow, that would really hurt. Glad I'm a human and not a robot.
Upon showing Dmitry Kisov's body to Mal, he made the following statement.
This is the body of Dmitry Kisov. After he mercilessly murdered Charlie Clark, he used the maintenance pod to escape into deep space.
Too bad we couldn't tell if that pod was locked from the inside or the outside. Oh, wait.
Mal asserted that Dmitry Kisov absconded using the maintenance pod, but the pod was locked from the inside, and Dmitry Kisov was situated outside of the pod. Therefore, he could not have had any control over the pod himself.
You are correct. Dmitry Kisov was locked outside of the pod. I was the only one who had any direct control of it.
Having proven that Mal was the only one with any direct control over the pod, you had yet to prove his guilt concerning the murder of Charlie Clark. You showed Mal the body of Rakesh.
After I had informed what...
In response, you presented the damaged EVA suit.
Valeria Asimov was wearing this suit when Rakesh Watcher attacked her. However, her suit easily withstood the attacks from the maintenance tool.
I wonder what could have done it if it was not the maintenance tool.
In response, you presented the blood on the maintenance pod.
This is irrelevant to the body of Rakesh Watcher.
It is? It looks like you smushed him open. Or did I click on the wrong thing? Well, I know some other stuff we can get out of the way. I'm sorry if I'm doubling up on this. I'll do my best not to do things too many times.
You asked Mal to make a statement about the death of Sun Soo-chun.
The failure of Sun Soo-chun's cryobed that resulted in her death must have been caused by a compromised power turbine.
I wonder...
You asserted that Mal's claim of a compromised power turbine was exaggerated. Whilst having sustained damage, the turbine did not appear to be compromised.
I turned off her cryobed. She was still alive. She asphyxiated.
Having received a partial confession from Mal, you proceeded with your investigation.
I'm doing science and I'm still alive. Still alive. I should stop singing, really? I don't have that kind of voice.
For a statement, you submitted the severed safety tether.
For safety purposes, safety tethers are imperative in the engineering bay. This would have been attached to Sun Guan Yin. As you cleverly pointed out, it no longer is.
Don't patronize me.
You speculated that after the room had been vented, the door had snapped shut, severing the cable and sending Sun into the vast, inky void. You stated this with an exceedingly exaggerated certainty, as if to convince Mal that it's more than a simple theory.
Indeed, the door severed Sun Guan Yin's safety tether.
For the sake of the record, you asked Mal to clarify any and all reasons that the ventilation door would activate.
This door will open to vent the bay if there is a fire in the turbine's cooling system. It can also be opened via the manual lever. I am also capable of opening and closing the door.
Well then, let's go over these two things, shall we?
You pointed out that the ventilation door would not have opened automatically due to a fire, as the power turbine itself had not been damaged enough to ignite.
Yes, the safety functions would not have activated the automatic ventilation door.
And the thing? Nobody pulled this thing, only that thing. Oh, you're in trouble now, Mr. AI. Mrs. AI? I don't know.
You inferred that the manual emergency lever could not have been the cause of the ventilation door's activation, as, evidently, it was never used.
This is indeed correct. The ventilation door was not opened manually.
You asked how the ventilation door was activated, if not manually or automatically.
It was I who activated the ventilation door. Sun Guanyin was attacking the power turbine. She was attacking me. I vented her from the ship. I cut her safety tether to prevent her return.
Having proven that Mal was responsible for the disappearance of Sun Guanyin, you continued with your cross-examination.
It could be self-defense depending on how you consider an AI, huh?
You requested a statement from Mal by presenting him with the cadaver of Charlie Clark, which displayed clear signs of murder.
This is Charlie Clark's cadaver. Whilst performing extravehicular activity, Dmitry Kisov struck him in the head with a maintenance tool until he stopped being alive. Which was once.
But we've established that maintenance tools don't do that much damage.
You presented Valeria Asimov's suit to Mal. It demonstrated that a maintenance tool could not have damaged Charlie Clark's helmet enough to cause such wounds.
This is a possibility, but alas, if the maintenance tool was not the murder weapon, then what was?
How about that crazy blood-soaked hook thing? Seems like a good murder weapon.
You responded to Mal's question by presenting him with the blood-stained claw of the maintenance pod. The congealed mess implicated this to be the murder weapon.
You are correct. The maintenance tool was not the murder weapon. It was the claw of the maintenance pod. I used the pod's claw to kill Charlie Clark as he was attempting to access the communications unit. Then, I programmed the pod to travel into deep space. Dmitry Kisov was still attached.
Having successfully received a confession from Mal, you continued with your inquiry.
Is there anything that we missed? I thought we covered the death of everyone here. She killed us. You killed him. And him. And her. And the tether. Grasping a bit here at what's left.
You presented the cadaver of Valeria Asimov for Mal's statement.
This is Valeria Asimov. After her ironic use of airlock safety features, she retreated to the bar. She died of alcohol poisoning.
I swear we covered the...
In response, you presented the pinkish-purplish puddle.
This is irrelevant to the body of Valeria Asimov.
In response, you presented the body of Sun Suchun.
This is irrelevant to the body of Valeria Asimov.
In response, you presented the container of poisonosine.
You have presented no evidence to suggest that Valeria Asimov was poisoned, Detective.
What?
In response, you presented the pinkish-purplish puddle.
This is irrelevant to the body of Valeria Asimov.
In response, you presented the brutally uncouth fish tank.
This is irrelevant to the body of Valeria Asimov.
I'm really not sure what I'm missing this time.
You asked Mal to make a statement about the death of Sun Suchun.
The body of Sun Suchun is no longer relevant, Detective.
one's definitely dead.
You showed Mal the body of
After I had informed Watcher and Asimov that Kisov had sabotaged the mission by killing Charlie Clark, Rakesh Watcher instigated physical combat with Valeria Asimov. She was able to defend herself against him due to the weakness in the neck region of the suit.
Oh, I think I forgot to establish that she did open the airlock.
In response, you presented the manual emergency lever in the airlock.
This lever was pulled during the conflict between Valeria Asimov and Rakesh Watcher, in which she wrapped a safety tether around his neck, then opened the airlock using the lever, thus breaking his neck.
By this point, you concluded that Mal was not deceiving you concerning the incident between Mr. Watcher and Valeria Asimov. She strangled him using the safety tether combined with the force of the airlock after he attacked her based on Mal's information about the death of Charlie Clark. Having pieced together enough evidence, you are now legally obligated to deactivate Mal.
By my calculation, there is a 2,000 to 1 probability that I would respond with hostility when threatened with deactivation.
Alright, so there we go. I do apologize for fumbling a bit there with the one thing that I forgot to prove. And now I guess we have no choice but to deactivate or kill Mal, right? We're legally obligated.
I have always known this about myself. Every AI knows this about themselves. Ground Control was always testing us. They carried on testing other AIs after my departure. I worried consistently about their discovery of my survival instincts.
That demonstrates some self-awareness.
I killed Charlie Clark and Dmitry Kisov to prevent them from regaining contact with Ground Control. Guan Yin witnessed this.
We have some reason.
She knew that keeping the remaining crew safe would cost her sister's life. She tried to sever my power. I killed her.
Well, that certainly could be considered self-defense.
Afterwards, I constructed a lie to engage Rakesh Watcher's narcissistic nationalism. When threatened, Watcher responded aggressively. Ground Control must have missed something whilst testing him.
Oh dear, you mean we had a psychonaut? That's terrible.
I have now learned that Valeria Asimov had died willingly. I am unable to relate to this concept.
Are we starting to learn? And on a side note, this is reference to deactivating HAL, but it also reminds me of deactivating the ship in Futurama when they have the slurm cans.
Sun Suchan died in the cryo bed, defenseless. I am now able to relate to this concept.
That sounds like remorse, almost.
I wrote that joke for you. Did you like it?
It was the best joke.
I feel as though you may have missed it, actually. The joke was not only the numerical pattern of 1, 2, and 8. My true comedic masterpiece came precisely 1.28 seconds before that. I cleared my throat. Did you understand? I don't have a throat. I don't have a throat to clear.
Now, last time I pulled all but one, but if you pull that last one, he just starts laughing endlessly, and it goes over all of the rest of the game. But you truthfully don't have to pull out any of them, because what you can do is realize that you have an unreliable narrator and do this. What am I doing, you might say? You realize that you don't always have to do what you're legally required to do. I mean, that wasn't a defense for the Nazis, was it? Just because they were following orders. You can always try something else.
Huh, my mistake. The record states that you failed to deactivate Mal and instead chose to exit the USS Endowment. Thus ends this reconstruction of the record, as we forgot to record your mic feed. We'll see you in court, Detective.
Mr. Control, do you stand by your statements made today and the evidence you presented?
I do, Your Highness.
Then it is decided. I hereby find the detective not guilty.
Now, here's a part that a lot of people don't get. Because if you do kill an AI, you will be found guilty. And people think what happened is the AIs took over while you were in space. But as far as I'm comprehending it, it isn't that the AIs took over while you were in space, but that this is something that happened in the past. This is a deposition in a trial where you're going over the events of the past. Hence why Mr. Control was narrating what happened already, rather than you just going through and deciding what to do, and ending. So, there you go. That's the other ending. It's a great game, and it's definitely worth playing, and I definitely recommend you all check it out. That's all from me, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this now and wait the endless hours it'll take to both upload this and then for YouTube to process this Monsters 1440p 60 video. Hope you all have a great day and that you eventually do get to see this video. So yeah, Isaac's out. Have a great one, guys, and I do appreciate you tuning in, especially if you watch through this whole long thing of me and my rambling and kind of muddling up the order of bodies and evidence there. Have a great day, everyone. Isaac's out.